As he did on any typical Wednesday morning, Jonathan woke up promptly at 6:45 and immediately fell back asleep. He woke up again at 7, the time that he actually had to get up to get ready for work. Jonathan's always set 2 alarms, one to wake him up from deep sleep and one to get him out of bed. He found it was best that way. As he put on his navy blue slippers, he shuffled to the bathroom, flicked on the lights, turned the shower dial to 12 o'clock. For his shower, 12 o'clock was the best setting, or at least he thought so. His wife thought it was too cold. "John, close the door," his wife muttered in her sleep with an essence of grogginess. As usual, he closed the bathroom door, muffling the sound of the shower and blocking the light from entering the room. He stuffed a towel in the crack between the door and the floor to enhance the purpose of closing the door. He could sense his wife smiling as she rolled over onto her right side. On normal mornings, Jonathan would shave, but not today. But today was not a normal morning. It was Wednesday, the day when he and his wife would go out to eat supper at the local restaurant, and she liked him with a little bit of stubble. So he did not shave after the shower. He dried off, picked up his pajamas, he dried off, picked his pajamas up off the floor, turned the lights off, opened the door, and walked into the darkness of the master bedroom. Sticking to his routine, he threw his pajamas near the edge of the bed, knowing his wife would put them away. His clothes for the new day were neatly folded on the hassock. He dressed in the dark. He never found it to be extremely difficult, and typically he did not wake up his wife this way. He thought that was best. He followed his normal Wednesday traditions from there. He ate a high-fiber, low-flavor breakfast. He washed and put away his dishes. He brushed his teeth and left. The time was 7:30, as it always was when he reached the street curb. Within a minute, a taxi was there in front of his apartment building every Monday through Saturday, except at exactly 7:31. He would pay all taxi fares for the month at the beginning of the month. This way, if he called in sick, he still had to pay for the taxi ride. The taxi company did not think much of it, but he thought it an ingenious idea, specifically for days like this, when it was raining. As the taxi pulled up, he reached to the still-in-motion handle, open the back door. Where to? 47th West Iron Rod, between Kent and 193rd Street. So, are you Jonathan Sheen? I've heard a lot about you. Jonathan grunted as he rolled his eyes. Jonathan did not like talking to people who would most likely never meet again, like a taxi driver. For this reason, the taxi company typically made sure that Charles Bees picked up Jonathan, because Jonathan would actually talk to him. Charles used to live in the same apartment building as Jonathan, but then Charles moved in with his fiancée. While living so close to each other, Charles always gave Jonathan free off-the-book rides to work. But today, for some reason, Charles did not pick up Jonathan. Instead, an unknown and never-to-be-known taxi driver did. They say you never talk to your drivers, the driver initiated with an unseen smile. However, Jonathan could see the grin in his eyes through the rearview mirror. Well, they are right. Jonathan had never told a driver to not talk to him, but he gave short answers to questions. He gave short answers to any questions his driver asked him, hoping they could tell that he was not interested in talking. Jonathan thought it was best this way. This driver did not. "Ah, well, I got an answer to a question or two, didn't I? So I must be doing better than the others." This was not true, but Jonathan didn't say that. Instead, he was short in his reply. "I guess you are." Well, then I deserve a gold star now, don't I? Jonathan did not say anything to this because he found that rhetorical questions were a fabulous manner of ending a conversation. The driver disagreed. So, how was your Tuesday night? I'll guess by the bags under your eyes you were up late last night. With the missus, maybe? Jonathan had not been up last night with his wife. Had not been up with his wife last night. He was eternally old. He had spent too much time in college either partying or studying, namely the latter, and he barely got any sleep, and typically relied on caffeine pills to get him through his college days. Those bags would never go away and had nothing to do with his wife. His face just stuck with him. No. Frustration blew through his clenched teeth. He had lost his temper with his driver. In his mind, it was one thing to ask her to, and another to hint at his sexual intimacy with his wife. Jonathan slouched in the back seat, from the gaze in the rearview mirror. He thought it was best this way. Are you going to answer any of the questions with a legitimate answer? No, I am not. No, I am not. I just wanted to be taken to work. You're new, aren't you? 'Cause you know how the whole taxi driver thing works? Huh? Shut up and drive. And you don't say a single goddamn word till you ask for the till I ask for the money. Then it'll be 7:40. Shut up. You shouldn't even be asking for the money. Do you know why? No, you don't. 'Cause you don't listen to anything. That's why you're a taxi driver. 'Cause you flunked out of school. And I bet that you haven't even, I bet that you haven't even, that you couldn't even go to a goddamn community college. You know that? You know what? Yeah, I bet all my life savings that you haven't spent, that you even spent more money. I would bet all my life savings that you haven't spent a more that you haven't even spent a more than a week on a college campus in your life. Am I right? Am I? There was a split second in which Jonathan listened. He would have heard tears fall into the steering wheel. But Jonathan wasn't listening. He was shouting, and he thought it was best this way. Wow, your parents must be so proud of you. You know what? Just because you took the effort to ruin my drive to work and my day, I'll pay the taxi fee. You can keep it all, just so that when you go home to whoever it is you live, your parents, yeah, just so that when you go home to your parents, and just so that when you go home and tell your parents how you ruined someone's day. Here you go. With that, Jonathan threw the 740 through the opening and onto the passenger seat. He got out of the car, which had arrived to his destination just after he started yelling, and slammed the door so hard it sounded like it dented the door. But Jonathan didn't care if he dented the door. Because he didn't turn around until he heard the car window roll down and the driver say, "Hey," calmly. Jonathan whipped around. "What do you want from me now, huh?" "Have a nice day, Dad." The taxi drove away. Jonathan walked into the office building and pushed the up button for the elevator. Reaching his cubicle, he sat down. He thought it was best that way. Happy Wednesday, Kaylee.